are two types of hive tool in common use. You may see them in a variety of colours and sizes. Hive tools should be kept clean. This can be done by washing the tool in a 5% solution of washing soda or by gentle flaming. The edges of a hive tool should not be sharpened like a chisel. There's no need, and it is too dangerous. Make a note of how sharp your hive tool is and file the edge once a year. This film also shows the use of the wedge. These are made by the beekeeper, ideally out of hardwood, such as oak, so that they can be flame sterilised. Make a few. They tend to get lost. Do not use plastic door wedges. They cannot be cleaned. The hive tool is the third most essential tool for the beekeeper, after the veil and smoker. Do not be tempted to use an ordinary chisel or screwdriver instead. Both may result in damage to equipment or to yourself. The plain hive tool has a box levering edge and a frame levering edge. The J type has a box levering edge and a J hook and a small notch. Either type may have a small, possibly tapered hole, which is intended for removing small nails like a claw hammer. The box levering edge of the hive tool is used thus to separate chambers and other components. Ensure the tool is inserted at least a ½ inch or 1 centimetre into the corner before levering. If it is less, it may slip. This is the major cause of damage to chambers, and over time may result in them becoming robbable by other bees coming in through a damaged corner. Do not hammer in hive tools. Take your time, or do not push too hard. You may dislodge the hive on its base. The wedge is used in conjunction with the hive tool to ensure that chambers are not repeatedly dropped on top of each other when the hive tool is moved to apply more leverage. This helps to keep the bees calm. At the start of the season, when a hive is heavily propellized or has not been open for some time, it is quite common for the top bar of the frames of the lower chamber to become attached to the bottom bars of the upper chamber. In this case, when you lift the upper chamber, you will bring with it some frames from the lower chamber. Use the wedge to hold the chambers apart while you check carefully in the gap that no frames in the bottom chamber have become attached to those in the upper. Use the hive tool to carefully lever them down. Check both sides of the hive. You will need 2 wedges. If a roof will not come off, use the hive tool as follows to free it. Insert the chamber levering end upwards about 1 inch or 2 centimetres into the gap between the roof and lever very gently with your free hand resting on the roof until you hear a click. The roof is now free. Do not lever the roof a long way up. It will drop back with a loud noise. For all flat components, it is important to make sure that it is free all the way round before trying to remove it. When removing a framed queen excluder, it is even more important to ensure it is free. The corner joints are not very strong, and it is very easy to leave one side of the excluder frame propellized to the chamber by pulling the queen excluder off when only 3 sides are free. Propolis is stronger than the corner joint. When reassembling hives, gentle handling is vital, but often difficult when components are heavy with honey. The strain may also lead to back injuries. It can be very difficult to avoid crushed bees when working alone, and there is always the risk of crushing the queen. Use a wedge to control the way in which chambers are reassembled. Place the wedge on the lower chamber on the face opposite the entrance. If required, use some smoke to remove any bees on the opposite edge above the hive entrance. Gently lower the upper chamber so that it rests on the cleared edge above the entrance first. You can use a slight sliding action to push bees out of the way. Lower the other edge onto the wedge. You can now use the smoker in the tapered gaps to move the bees away and slowly withdraw the wedge using the hive tool as required until the upper chamber is fully lowered. The other job of the hive tool is to lift frames. When the hive is properlised, use the tool as follows to ensure each frame lug is freed from the rest. It is a good idea to go over both sides of all the frames in one go before doing anything else. Use the plain hive tool to separate and lift frames as shown. The J-type tool should be used in a specific way. The J goes into the bee space and the notch rests on the hive wall or the frame behind to provide lift. Do not try and put the J hook under the lugs of the frames. It will not fit and you may break the lugs off the frame. Do not keep putting the hive tool on the corner of the hive. The tapping will agitate the bees. Get into the habit as soon as possible of keeping the hive tool in the palm of your hand
When dealing with framed queen excluders, it is important to remember that the corner joints are really quite weak and that excessive levering if the queen excluder is heavily propellised to the brood box will result in the joints being broken, which can be used to make sure that the excluder is completely free before attempting to remove it from the brood box, like that.